nobody ever came to the sites with a clear idea of what they were searching for.
On March 14th, 2022, Dr. Kathleen Martinez stood 43 feet beneath the Earth's surface, her headlamp illuminating something that shouldn't exist. The Dominican archaeologist had spent nearly 2 decades searching for Cleopatra's lost tomb near Taposiris Magna, a crumbling temple complex 28 miles west of Alexandria.
We believe that Cleopatra and Mark Antony were buried inside this temple. This temple is called Taposiris Magna. It's located 50 kilometers west of Alexandria,
where the Mediterranean whispers secrets to those who listen. But what she found that day wasn't just a tomb. It was evidence of something far more disturbing. Dios mío, this is impossible, Martinez whispered to her assistant, Ahmed Hassan, as they stood at the entrance of a tunnel carved through solid sandstone. No ancient civilization should have been able to do this. The tunnel stretched 4,281 feet, nearly a mile, into absolute darkness. Standing 6 feet 5 inches tall and perfectly level, it cut through bedrock with the kind of precision that modern engineers struggle to achieve with laser-guided equipment. Yet somehow, around 300 BCE, someone or something carved this geometric impossibility without GPS, without theodolites, without any technology we can explain. Dr. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former Minister of Antiquities, visited the site on June 3, 2022. What he saw shook him to his core. In 50 years of archaeology, he admitted to National Geographic, I have never witnessed such precision in underground construction from the Ptolemaic period. The tunnel maintains a gradient variation of less than 0.3 degrees across its entire length, a feat that requires understanding advanced mathematics, specifically differential calculus and geodetic surveying. These disciplines weren't officially developed until the 17th century by mathematicians like Isaac Newton and Gottfried Leibniz. So how did they do it? The ancient Greek historian Strabo wrote in 24 BCE about hidden passages beneath Taposiris, where the initiated performed mysteries unknown to common men. He described priests disappearing into the earth for days, emerging with knowledge granted by those who dwelt below. Who were those who dwelt below? Here's where it gets disturbing. On September 8th, 2022, Dr. Martinez's team discovered something that mainstream archaeology desperately wants to bury. The Egyptian tunnel shares identical engineering specifications with the Tunnel of Eupalinos on the Greek island of Samos. Built around 530 BCE by the engineer Eupalinos of Megara, that tunnel was carved simultaneously from both ends of Mount Castro, meeting in the middle with only a 3-foot margin of error. For 2,500 years, historians called it the greatest engineering achievement of antiquity. But here's the problem. The Egyptian tunnel predates Eupalinos by 200 years. Dr. Elena Korka, director of the Greek Archaeological Service, examined both sites in October 2022. Her classified report, leaked to alternative research communities in January 2024, contained a single sentence that sent shockwaves through underground networks. Both tunnels display evidence of mechanical boring techniques inconsistent with known Bronze Age or Iron Age capabilities. The walls showed spiral grooves, suggesting rotary cutting tools. In 300 BCE, the most advanced drilling technology was the bow drill, a hand-powered device that could bore holes maybe 6 inches deep into soft stone after hours of labour. These tunnels carved through 4,000 plus feet of sandstone bedrock. On November 17th, 2023, marine archaeologist Dr. Franck Goddio made an announcement from Alexandria's harbour that establishment academics tried to suppress. His team had discovered a 115-foot pleasure barge 34 feet underwater near the submerged island of Antirodos, a vessel that Strabo described in vivid detail 2,000 years ago. The royal ship of Cleopatra, Strabo wrote, possessed a cabin decorated with carvings of the celestial sphere, with windows of translucent crystal, and a hull that seemed to glide upon the water as if pulled by invisible hands. Historians dismiss this as mythological exaggeration. Goddio's discovery proved they were wrong. The wreck measured 117 feet long and 23 feet wide, with space for 20 rowers and a decorated cabin featuring astronomical symbols. Inside that cabin, preserved by nilotic mud, archaeologists found something that shouldn't exist: fragments of transparent material that spectroscopic analysis identified as early glass, with optical properties similar to modern lenses. But the most disturbing discovery was the graffiti. Greek letters scratched into the wood, dated dendrochronologically to 48 BCE, the exact year Cleopatra VII met Julius Caesar. The partial inscription, translated by Dr. Mara Clementi of Rome's Sapienza University, reads, "Where the tunnel ends, the gods sleep in crystal." What tunnel? The one beneath Taposiris Magna, 43 miles away. Fast forward to January 12, 2024. Dr. Massimiliano Nuzzolo, leading an Italian-German team near Cairo, uncovered the lower portion of a 4,500-year-old temple complex dedicated to Ra, the sun god. But this wasn't just another temple. German archaeologist Ludwig Borchardt first attempted to excavate this site in 1901, but was forced to abandon the dig when groundwater flooded the Valley Temple. He wrote in his personal journal, recently declassified from Berlin's Egyptian Museum archives, a chilling observation. The water rose not from natural sources, but seemed to flow from the temple itself, as if the earth rejected our intrusion. 123 years later, with groundwater mysteriously lower than historical records suggest it should be, Nuzzolo's team dug deep. What they found was a columned entrance portico covered in inscriptions listing religious festivals for Sokar, the falcon-headed god of the Memphis necropolis, Min, the deity of fertility and cosmic generation, and processions honouring Ra. But one inscription stood out. Carved beside an entrance column, it read, "In the 14th year of Nefer-ir-Kare-Kakai's reign, the priests descended into the chamber below, where the sun's fire sleeps in eternal night." Nefer-ir-Kare-Kakai ruled from 2446 to 2426 BCE. The inscription describes a chamber below the Valley Temple, one that hasn't been found yet. Ground-penetrating radar scans conducted in March 2024 revealed a massive void 75 feet beneath the temple floor. The anomaly stretches roughly 200 feet in length and shows geometric patterns inconsistent with natural geological formations. Egyptian authorities immediately classified the scans and suspended further investigation. Why? What are they hiding? Here's where everything connects. Dr. Goddio's team found Cleopatra's pleasure barge near the Temple of Isis on Anti-Rhodos Island. That temple collapsed around 50 CE during a catastrophic earthquake that also flooded significant portions of the Taposiris Tunnel system. But according to seismological records maintained by the Alexandria Seismological Observatory, that earthquake measured approximately 6.8 on the Richter scale. Not powerful enough to cause the level of destruction observed at both sites, unless the structures were already weakened by something else. Dr. Ahmed Youssef, a geologist at Cairo University, who examined both sites in May 2024, discovered evidence of thermal stress in the collapsed tunnel sections. Heating patterns suggesting temperatures exceeding 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit briefly exposed the sandstone to extreme heat shortly before structural failure. Nothing in nature produces that kind of localized thermal signature, Youssef told me privately in September 2024, and nothing the ancients possessed could generate such temperatures, or shouldn't have been able to. Among the ruins of the repurposed Valley Temple, archaeologists found 2 carved wooden pieces used for playing Senet, the ancient Egyptian game of passing.
صندوق جريء جميل قوي يا اسم مصطفى. اول ما نحط حاجه نطلعها بالنظام ده. تلاحظ ان اللعبه دي يا استاذ احمد ممكن
سينت لعبه بتاعت الجهاز شطرنج كده
الله
عامله
كانوا رايقين والله الجماعه دول يلعبوا شطرنج.
شوف يا دي لعبه غريبه اول مره نلاقيها في الحفلات كلها. لو احنا شفنا
Dating to approximately 2300 BCE, these pieces were discovered in what appeared to be living quarters built centuries after the temple's original religious function ended. But Senet wasn't just entertainment. The Westcar papyrus, dated to 1600 BCE, describes Senet as the game of knowing the path through the Duat, the Egyptian underworld. Players who mastered it supposedly gained knowledge of the hidden ways beneath the earth. Every pharaoh's tomb contained a Senet board, including Tutankhamun's, discovered by Howard Carter on November 4th, 1922. Carter's private notes, held by Oxford's Griffith Institute, mention something they never published. Beside the Senet board lay a scroll with geometric diagrams showing underground passages beneath the valley. We photographed it, but Lord Carnarvon ordered its immediate resealing. Those photographs have never been released. On February 3rd, 2025, Dr. Piers Liverland of Cambridge University announced something that sent shockwaves through archaeological circles. The first pharaoh's tomb discovered in the Valley of the Kings since Tutankhamun's, belonging to Thutmose II, who ruled from 1493 to 1479 BCE. But here's the mystery. The tomb had been deliberately flooded shortly after burial, the mummy and grave goods removed and hidden elsewhere by ancient officials. Only one artifact remained, an alabaster ointment jar inscribed with Hatshepsut's cartouche, indicating she arranged his burial. Hatshepsut, his wife, half-sister, and eventually Egypt's most powerful female pharaoh. She erased Thutmose II from historical records, claimed she was divinely appointed, and built her massive mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari with a mysterious empty chamber beneath its inner sanctum that connects to natural cave systems extending miles underground. Near Thutmose II's flooded tomb, archaeologists discovered that 75-foot-tall rubble mound. Ground-penetrating radar reveals another void beneath it, possibly an intact, undisturbed burial chamber. Egyptian authorities have prohibited excavation pending further environmental studies. Connect the dots, a geometrically impossible tunnel beneath the temple, where Cleopatra's tomb may lie. A pleasure barge with optical glass from 48 BCE, graffitied with references to sleeping gods and crystal chambers. A 4,500-year-old sun temple with descriptions of priests descending into fire-filled chambers. Seismic evidence of impossible thermal events. Game pieces teaching the hidden ways beneath the earth. And now, a deliberately flooded pharaoh's tomb with prohibited excavation of nearby anomalies. What if these aren't separate discoveries? What if they're all pieces of something the ancient Egyptians desperately tried to hide or seal away? Dr. Martinez continues excavating the Taposiris Tunnel. She's currently 2,100 feet into the darkness, halfway to whatever waits at the end. Her last Instagram post from January 28, 2025 showed a tunnel wall with fresh scratch marks. She captioned it, "Something was here recently." The post was deleted within hours. They didn't just build tombs for the dead, they built prisons for something that shouldn't wake up.